What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back for another predicted lineup for the massive game this weekend up at Anfield. Liverpool against Tottenham. 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday night. Haven't seen that time of kickoff on a Saturday since the pandemic was in its full flight. So it's going to be an interesting game, that's for sure. Antonio Conte has been speaking in his pre-match press conference. And what is the team news?
The team news is that Skip, Doherty and Tanganga obviously remain out. We're not going to be seeing them again through the remainder of the season. And joining them potentially now on the list is Sergio Reguilon. Obviously, he missed out last game against Leicester with a groin problem, I think it was, or thigh problem. And he said that he's unsure whether Reguilon now will play again for the rest of the season. Because there's just so little time left. He doesn't know whether he'll be back in time. So it looks like Reguilon joins the list of players we'll be not having till the end of the season for the last few games. So hopefully Sessegnon stays fit.
Yeah. There's been a few discussions online thinking about what formation we're going to play in this game. Obviously, we played a 3-5-2 quite successfully when we played them earlier on this season. When we drew 2-2, we had a host of chances to win the game. But as well, we've been sticking to the 3-4-3 formation with our lack of options in midfield. So that is what we have gone for this game. Obviously, you cast your mind back to when we beat Man City. We played that formation as well and played a really, really good game. And we're going to need to have a carbon copy performance, really, if we're going to get anything out of this game. And let's run through the lineup in a 3-4-3 formation. In goal, Hugo Lloris, and he is going to have his work cut out for him tomorrow, isn't he?
He's going to have a busy game, or hopefully not too busy, but one thinks with Liverpool's pressure. One thing as well, set pieces. Liverpool are very good from set pieces, and we concede a lot of set pieces and concede a lot of chances. I actually saw a stat just earlier. Apparently, we've conceded the third amount of shots in the league from set pieces.
Not surprising that, to be honest.
Third to Norwich and Leicester. Yeah. The bottom three are Liverpool, City and Chelsea. Wow. So that shows that the quality of teams there. So we need to sharpen up. We can't be giving away too many set pieces in this one.
Absolutely.
And Lloris, we know, is not the most dominant from set pieces. Yeah, as well. It's a problem.
And we've seen Liverpool from set pieces recently. Konate getting a few goals from set pieces. Van Dijk's always a danger, isn't he? So they've got a lot of aerial threats from set pieces. So we're definitely going to have our wits about us in those situations. Right wing back, we're going to go with Emerson, obviously our only fit right wing back in the squad. There is a question maybe to put Kulusevski there, but I wouldn't. I mean, you got to stick with Emerson, I think.
Don't think you can do that in this game. I think we're sticking with the same formation, and if that is the case, then Emerson has to play there. And look, Emerson has been a part of the team when we had two very big performances at the Etihad and at home to Liverpool early in the season. So shows he can play in those big games. He wasn't terrible in either of those games, and he's going to have to be more defensively solid. So Emerson plays.
Yeah, it's very worrying, the sight of him coming up against whether it be Mane, Jota, Diaz, probably Diaz, but the sight of him going up against Diaz worries me massively. But he will have Christian Romero next to him, who we're putting as our right centre-back. So Romero is going to be so important in this game, isn't he?
Yeah, making sure that if Diaz is got the being of Emerson, he's there, making sure he's mopping up and not letting him past him. He's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league, Romero. He very, very rarely gets beaten. He knows what position to put himself in to make sure that if the ball comes in that direction, either he's winning it first or if a player's taking him on, he's making sure it doesn't make it easy. So he's going to be very important. And not just that, when we're on the ball, when we're playing out from the back, he's the one usually with the composure to not panic and find a solution, and he's going to need to do that like he did against City.
Yeah, massively. Romero at the right centre-back. In the middle, we're going to stick with Eric Dier, who's had a very strong season, but there has been a few maybe chinks in his armoury that has been showing in the last couple of weeks.
I don't think he's been too dissimilar recently in terms of defensively. Obviously, he had that moment against Brighton. I don't think he did too much else against Brentford or against Leicester. I think on the ball he's going to be so crucial because he's the one. If you're looking for a long either switch of play or a ball over the top, he's the one most likely to provide it with the space he's going to get.
And I think that's where as well he hasn't been as strong as maybe previously in the season. I feel like his long balls haven't been as accurate in recent weeks, and they have been all season.
Yeah, potentially. I think he's maybe been a bit less accurate. I remember a few chances he made in the first game balls
Yeah,
over the top.
absolutely.
And he was creating some good chances, so he's going to be crucial with that. And he might get denied space, but hopefully he has the composure to find that space and play those passes over the top, because that's going to be crucial.
Yeah. To make up the back three, we're obviously going to go for Ben Davies in the left centre-back position. What's your opinions on Ben Davies in this game? I mean, there's no one else that we can put there anyway.
Yeah, of course. He's one I'm worried about the most, actually, because Salah on that side, you've got Mane through the centre as well. I just remember that game when I know it was a few years ago now, but the game we drew at Anfield 2-2. Salah scored that amazing individual goal, and he just had Davis on toast for that goal. I don't know if you
he was at
remember
left back though, wasn't he?
He was at left back, so a bit different, but still, he has that potential. But look, I think from set pieces, I'm a bit worried from him as well. But in terms of how we build up our play, he can do, like, if you remember that first goal we scored against City at the Etihad, he fizzed the ball right into Kane, who played the ball down to Son. So he's good at those combinations, and he can do an accurate pass. But I am a bit worried about him, because sometimes when you press him, he can get a bit flustered, and that's what I'm worried about. So hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, to be fair though, in the first game when we played Liverpool earlier on the season, him and Cesc kept Salah really quiet, and they did a really good job on him. So hopefully we can have a carbon copy of that.
That was when Salah was in his prime as well, playing really well.
Yeah. So, yeah, which brings us on nicely to the left wing back, which will be Ryan Sessegnon, with Reguilon out injured. And like I said, I mean, he had a really strong performance against Liverpool earlier on the season, not just defensively, but I felt he done us well going forward as well. So he hasn't been that good of late, Sessegnon. Pretty poor showing last time out, so we need him to be much, much better this game.
Yeah, he's going to have more space to play, and then as he had the last few games, more ability to attack. But he's going to have to be focused on Salah. That's his number one thing. I think the difference in the formations now is that he has the support ahead of him, as opposed to 3-5-2, where maybe he had more of the flank to deal with. So maybe that could help him. But I don't expect too much adventure, to be honest, in this game from Sessegnon.
So
he'll have to pick his moments.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, the thing is, he's going to be going up against Trent, and we saw if Gordon was getting at Trent consistently in that Merseyside derby, if Sessegnon has a bit of confidence and just runs at him, maybe he can find a bit of spare change out of him. I really think he can. But let's run through that back line with you one more time. So it's Hugo Lloris in goal, Emerson right wing back, Sessegnon left wing back, Romero, Dier and Davis in the centre back positions. In the midfield, first player we're going to talk about is Rodrigo Bentancor.
Yeah, he has to play obviously in this game. He didn't play in the first game, and neither did his partner we'll talk about in a second, but he's going to have a lot of work to do to shield that the defensive line. He's going to have to be tasked with either covering the space when either Diaz or a fullback goes over, and if Kulusevski's not tracking back the fullback, he's going to have to come over, and then he's got to deal with Thiago, who's been brilliant of late. He's a master at dictating play and the pace of the game, and if you allow him too much space, he's going to be someone really difficult to deal with. So he's going to be on it. But look, he was brilliant against Man City, wasn't he, earlier in the season? So hopefully he can have a similar performance to that.
Absolutely, and alongside him, obviously the Viking Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who I think has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant of late. Probably our most, you would actually could say that, one of our most, if not our most consistent performer over the past month or so. And he's been brilliant in terms of interceptions, aggressive tackles, and he's going to need to have that in abundance this weekend against Liverpool.
Yeah, they have to turn it into a real battle in the centre. Make sure that they're not allowing Liverpool to play the football we know they can play, because once Thiago gets going, he's difficult to stop. And then they've also got Keita and they've got Fabinho and they've got Henderson, depending on who they play. So
yeah, how do we combat that? How do we combat, because we found it so difficult to combat when teams pack the midfield. So how do we do that this weekend?
It's going to be very, very difficult. I think it's just going to be a case of maybe letting Fabinho and Henderson have the ball, and when it goes to Thiago, make sure you're closing him down. That's the, you know, you've got to choose the lesser of two evils or something, because I don't think we can close down all those players equally if they're going to outnumber us. The good thing is they might not be as stretched if Kulusevski is doing his defensive duties and Son, but on the odd occasions that they do let the wing backs go, they're going to have to go over and cover, and that's going to be very, very difficult to how It's how we deal with the middle. Last time out we had 3 in the middle, and they didn't have their best midfielders out, so it was a lot not easier, but we had more ability to compete in the centre. We had more bodies in there, so we could pop it off in the centre and play quick football up centrally. But it's going to be more difficult. We're going to have to go a bit more wider this one, I think.
Yeah. And we all know how the wing-backs have been over the past couple of weeks, and we're relying on them big time this weekend.
Big time.
Right on the right side, we're going to go for Dejan Kulusevski, obviously. What does Kulu need to do?
I think it's a difficult game for someone like Kulu because he doesn't have searing pace. As much as he is a very good ball carrier, when you're up against someone like Robertson who's so aggressive, it's going to be difficult for him to beat him for pace. A part of me feels that maybe he was starting Lucas on Sunday in anticipation for maybe starting him today, but he had such a bad game that I don't think he can start him again. So I do expect Kulusevski to come in. And look, he had a brilliant game against City. So can he repeat that?
Who was he up against on that side against City?
Zinchenko or Cancelo?
Yeah.
Probably Zinchenko, I think.
I mean, if it was Cancelo, then that's definitely a blueprint that you can walk. But Zinchenko, it's not exactly the similar quality to Robertson,
Definitely
is he?
not. And even Cancelo defensively is nowhere near Robertson, I don't think. He's more offensive than defensively.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a different kettle of fish, Kulusevski. But in terms of physically, he can compete.
Yeah.
But it's just like with that such a high defensive line, whether he has the pace to get in behind. I mean, he's definitely shown very good pace with the ball at his feet. But whether he can get the ball in behind, we have to see.
Yeah, but the thing is, as well, maybe he won't need the absolute, searing pace that you're talking about when he's got it all. He's got that pace in his brain. His brain works a lot faster than a lot of footballers, and if he can find the right moments to pass the right balls in the right time, that can help us massively.
Yeah, maybe it's more about getting him the ball to feet and then him playing the balls in behind.
Exactly. So Kulusevski on the right. Up top is going to be Harry Kane. I mean, he's been a bit off form, off the boil past couple of games. We need a repeat performance of what he did at the Etihad. We need him to drop deep. We need him to dictate the play and really find the runs in behind from Sonny, don't we?
Definitely, and I do anticipate a more difficult game than he had at the Etihad, just because I think physically Liverpool are a bit different to City. They're a bit more stronger and a bit more physical than Man City, but no, doesn't mean he's not capable of pulling out of the bag, and he definitely is. So definitely we're going to need Harry Kane at his absolute best. I thought he played very well back when we played Liverpool last time out. So he has to shake off the last couple games. Obviously, he still scored last game, so hopefully he can build on that and gain confidence to take into this game.
All right, and last but not least, in my opinion, our most important player on the pitch this weekend, and that is going to be Heung-min Son, the man on firing form as well. And we've seen it before against teams like Man City and Liverpool that play a really high line. He's the one that can really do the damage.
He's 100% our biggest threat, 100% our most important player. I would even go as far as say without Son on the pitch, we would have little to no threat without him, because he's so good at running in behind. He is so good at breaking those lines, and the timing of his runs, the pace he has to get in behind, and not just that, he's finishing on the end of it as well. He's the number one target, and if they're clever, they'll make a plan for him. And if they nullify Son, I reckon they nullify Tottenham in this game. I think he's our biggest threat. But knowing Liverpool, I think they won't make a plan for him. They'll play their game, and that could suit us because Son, as he showed earlier, can wreak havoc in these games with space. So he's big at the biggest game, and he's one for the big occasion as well.
Exactly. So let's run through that lineup with you one more time, guys. So it's Hugo Lloris in goal, a back three of Cuti Romero, Eric Dier and Ben Davis, left wing back Ryan Sessegnon, right wing back Emerson Royale with Bentancor and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the middle, Sonny on the left, Kulusevski on the right, Harry Kane up top. What is the score predictions for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going for 2-2.
2-2.
I think it's going to be a really good game of football. I think they're going to come right at us and we're going to give as good as we get. But I can't see us keeping them out, but I see us creating chances. So I think Son's going to get on the score sheet. And I think maybe Kulusevski as well. I can see him getting a goal maybe from distance or something. but I think they're going to get a couple goals as well.
Yeah, I believe they're going to get a couple of goals as well. I mean, we're really going into the cauldron, which is Anfield at this stage of the season when they're going for all four. Well, they've already got one, but they're going for the quadruple, which is absolutely mental. If they do get it, you've got to say that they're probably the best Premier League team of all time. But I'm going 3-2 to Spurs. I think that we've got the tools to hurt them. I think they probably want us to come up against them probably less than anyone else in the Premier League right now with the tools that we have. And they're going to leave us a lot of space in behind. So if we can capitalise on that and if we take our chances, I believe we can come away from Anfield with all 3 points. So I'm going 3-2 to Spurs. I'm going 2 goals for Heung-min Son. And I think a late winner. I'm not sure whether it would be from Harry Kane or potentially Steven Bergwijn off the bench. One of the two.
Off the bench.
One of the two. So that is my prediction. Some of you say a little bit deluded, but I've got to stay positive and stay confident for the game this weekend. Massive, massive, massive game for both clubs. Put your score predictions and predicted lineups in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of our lineup as well. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.